All right, everyone, welcome. We are here for the magic of allowing. I love that. I love the title, and I love that you're here. I love that you made a decision to be with us. Now, we have blocked off 2 solid hours to be with you today. So please stick with us the entire time. We're here to serve you. We're here to talk about you. We had many, many people fill in the survey that Roddy had created for this particular event to give us more information of what you're really looking for. Where do you feel you have some challenges? And what would you love to manifest in your life? And we reviewed them all, me and my wonderful team that I'm blessed to serve with. So we will be addressing those things. But this event, as Roddy had said, if you were on the call before we started at 12 noon, is a little bit different. This is unlike anything that I've ever done. And one of the things that I love about doing these free events is that every time we do one, I create again. I start fresh. I start new. Just open up to the universe and allow what messages need to be shared with you, guidance, tips, strategies that I know will absolutely help you create the results that you want to have you finally unblock the flow of perhaps abundance or more joy or fulfillment or whatever it is that you desire in your life. And so that is exactly what we've done for you today. Now, I know we have a number of people that are here that have been on the webinars before, and we have some new folks here too. And I love that. Hey, Kim, good to see you too. Love you too. So happy that you're here. See some very familiar friends. I see people that are already in our programs. Now, if you're brand new and you've never been on a webinar that I've delivered before, just type in the chat box that you're new. Just type in new, just the word new, and just curious to see who's here. There we go. Luckiest and blessed counselor, Rinky. I like that. Okay, great. Grace, G, Sylvain. All right. Welcome, Jerome. Jerome, you've been here before, haven't you? I'm sure I've seen you before. Kate's here, Chantel, Danielle. All right, great. Well, we are so delighted to serve all of you, whether you're new or you've been here before. All right, we've got Stephen from Central Italy, some relatives from there. Either way, you are going to be delighted with what you're about to be exposed to in the Magic of Allowing event. So I have some slides that I'm going to be going through. We're going to be doing a bit of back and forth, back and forth. And yes, I'm definitely going to take some questions a little bit later too. And what I'm going to ask you to do is we're going to use the chat box in response to the questions that I'm asking. So if you can please just hold off and just write in responses to the things that I'm requesting from you so that we can keep it nice and clean as well. So the truth is this: you are manifesting. You're manifesting right now. We always manifest in the now moment. And I'll explain that a little bit later. And what happens is that a lot of people don't realize that they're manifesting. There's unconscious, competent people in this world where they may be manifesting what they desire, not even realizing that they're doing it. Those are rare. And most people are manifesting and they're not even aware that they're manifesting, and they're manifesting undesirable results. Now, why is that? It's because the conditioning that's there. But why I've been put on this planet, what I really believe my purpose is to help uplift others, to make a beneficial and positive contribution to the lives of others so that they can be manifesting their results. Now, what you're going to hear today, whether you're new or you've been on my webinars before, are some of my own examples, but I'm specifically and have specifically chosen these examples of manifestation relevant to the topic of today, relevant to allowing, relevant to getting rid of the resistance that's in your way so that it can be a lesson and so that there can be value for you of something that you can incorporate in your life right now. All right. So resistance, and this is something I've certainly learned from the past almost half a century of studying success. Ignorance is not bliss. And that's what happens for people who aren't willing to look at themselves, are willing to be more aware, aren't willing to invest in themselves, aren't willing to study, aren't willing to apply, is that it's costing you. So not doing something is actually a big cost. And having the ignorance of thinking, well, I've tried these other programs, or I've tried this, or I've tried that, and it didn't work, is not going to serve you either. In fact, that is a great example of resistance. And we saw a number of folks who had replied to the survey saying that. And one of the things that we ask people in the survey is, would you be open to having a conversation with us, a free 15-minute discussion to talk about where you are and how we could potentially help you get to where you want to go? Now, we can't help everyone, but we want to see if there's an opportunity for that. Now, what does that cost you? Nothing. But there were people that said yes to it and were pleased with it and were grateful for it, which is wonderful. And we'll give you the link if you're one of the people that would like to book that appointment. However, there were some people who said, no, if it's going to cost me money, no. And some people left, let's say nasty comments. Some people just flat out said no. That's a great example of resistance. Now, we're not judging it. We're just noticing. And it's important to have that awareness, and it's important to notice when the resistance shows up in our life. And what I've come to know from almost 50 years of studying is that if I had never invested in myself, I wouldn't be here talking to you. I wouldn't be sharing the stories that I'm about to share with you today. I don't think any of it would have happened. In fact, my results would have likely been a whole lot worse. So you made a decision to be with us today. Now, we value you and we value your time. We know how precious time is. And so we're going to serve you at our highest capacity during this time that we're here together, or any other future time that we're able to serve you and to work with you. Now, why I'm here is because I feel led to do this work. I don't have to work anymore. I reached a point in my life where I could retire, and I am 65 years of age, but I have no intention of retiring. I know a lot of my relatives and friends that are at this same age have retired. In fact, my husband retired 16 years ago. He retired from the military. Now, he was young at the time. He was only 48 years of age when he retired, which is an interesting story because my husband was a pilot in the military. And he went to work one day to fly the prime minister, and he was called into the commanding officer's office. And he was told that he was being commissioned to go to Afghanistan. And that was a surprise for a 47-year-old man. And so he called me at home and he said, honey, we just got married. We were married 6 months. And he called me and he said, I've been commissioned to go to Afghanistan. And I said, what are your choices? And he said, you don't have any choices when you're in the military. I said, there's always choices. And he thought about that. And he said, well, I guess I could retire. And I said, would you like that? And he said, well, it'd be kind of nice. I can go play golf more often. I could travel with you when you go on your little adventures and your business trips. And so he thought about it and he made a decision to retire. And so there wasn't any resistance in there. So he didn't have to go off to Afghanistan. And so the point that I'm really making is I'm here to serve you with the best of what I know up to this point in time from almost a half a century of studying. Now, I don't know how many people on this call have studied as long as I have, and I'm not saying I know more than you know. What I'm saying is that I have a depth of understanding because of the application of the principles. And that's where real magic or real transformation occurs, is when you study, you understand, and you apply. It's not enough to just study. You've got to apply and understand. Now, I loved this response from one of our attendees that's here at the event. And it was a gentleman who answered the question, why did you decide to enroll in the magic of allowing? And here's what he said. I've invested so much money in manifesting, and I'm certain a number of you can relate to that. Law of attraction, personal development coaching with limited results. Peggy seems believable, trustworthy, and void of the hype of Bob's other coaching prodigies that are now out hawking and hyping their programs. Now, the truth is there are a lot of people that are out there online now, and there are people that are out there and may not have the best intentions. They may not. They may be in it for the money. It's never been about the money. It was not about the money for my mentor and friend, Bob Proctor. And I'm very grateful that Bob and I were attracted to each other's life. And I believe it's because we came from a spirit of being of service. That's why I believe that we're all here. We're here to help another, uplift another, serve another in some way. And so this is one of the things that really attracted me to Bob's teachings, but not everybody is like that. Sure, if we look at the internet, and I've been online since 1995, it definitely provides an opportunity for you to create your own economy and to generate millions and millions and millions of dollars. I've had clients that have generated 7 figures, 8 figures. In fact, I have as well generated that in my life, but not always for the best reasons. And so my reason is to help you. That's it, is to be here to help you. I am here to help you. And what you decide to do beyond this point is totally up to you. So we're here to serve you. Now, I love this little image. It's an elephant in a room. And I like to talk about the elephant in the room because sometimes people get on webinars and they think they're getting on a webinar because they're going to be sold something. And I love the way Bob's approach was for this. In fact, he used to say on stage, if you think I'm here to sell you something, you're right. He said, I'm selling you on your dreams. That's what I'm selling you on. I'm selling you on you, the magnificent, powerful you. And that's what we're doing as well. Our primary objective is that we're going to help you, that we're going to give you something of value that you can use instantly. And I know we have huge value that we're bringing you today. And then also we'll give you an opportunity that you can continue with us beyond this event. And this is something that I've just recently created. And it is an opportunity for you to invest in your dreams is really what it is. But whether you do it or not, makes no difference to me. I mean, I would love to serve you, but it really is up to you. It's like that statement that goes like this. If it is to be, it is up to me. If it is to be, it is up to me. That's 10 words, 2 letters each. And think about what that statement really means. If it is to be, it is up to me. That's why we're talking about allowing. We want to show you how to allow more of the good into your life, whatever that is. Whether you're looking to attract or allow more fun in your life, that was some of the response that we saw, or whether it's more success, or whether it's abundance, or whether it's better health, or whether it's a relationship, or whether it is a dream home, or whatever it happens to be, allowing is absolutely the key for you to have it in your life. Now, this is a little 14-second video clip that I had that was sent to me by one of Bob Proctor's folks that I decided to play for you today. So I'm going to just play this and I'll talk about what Bob is referring to here.
I'm going to tell you, she is the best. You work with Peggy, you work with her. She is aces. Without question, she is the most service-oriented person that I know. And I know a lot of service-oriented people.
Now, I showed that because, not to brag on me, but to really talk to you about how much we care. And I think it's important that you understand how much my team, everyone at Dynamic Destinies, really cares about your growth. And there are clients that are on this call right now, people that we've worked with in the past, people that we're working with right now. And, you know, they're welcome to put a comment in the chat box if they feel that we are serving them or have served them in a positive way as well. In fact, I'll show you some of those comments from one of our opportunities where clients that have just very recently gone through a new program that I created and the one that I'm going to share with you today and what they thought and felt about it as well.
I can tell you, she is.
All right. So stay to the end of this webinar too, because I created something for you. I was inspired to create this. It was a total download from the universe, if you will. And it is an extraordinary gift, absolutely life-changing. And I'm giving it to you. So stay right to the end and you're going to see that as well. You're going to see that as well. So, and I'm going to explain to you at the end of this webinar how you can use it as well. So it's something that I created for you. And I really believe you're going to love it. Now, allowing means this in the most simplistic terms is that it means that you have let go of resistance, right? And think about this. If there's something that you want to have in your life, and maybe it's something that you've wanted for a long time, and maybe you're one of those people who feels that you've been investing in yourself for a long time, but yet you still haven't seen the results. There's a reason, and that's based on your emotions. It's based on your feeling. It's your resistance, and the resistance will show up. Now, most people don't want to block the flow of good into their life. It's that they're not aware of how they are blocking the flow in their life. So I have a couple of questions for you. Would you love to let go of that? Like, do you feel that that would be valuable? Whatever is holding you back from living the life that you desire, type in the chat box if you'd love to let go of the resistance? That's really what the question is. Would you love to let go? Just type in the chat box if that's, of course, says Vicky. Yes, yes, yes. By the way, everyone has it. It's, I have resistance as well. Okay, good, good. All right. Now, I was expecting that kind of answer. Yep. I don't know what it is. That's okay, Kati. You don't even have to know what it is. That's all right. You don't have to know what the resistance is, but you have to be willing. I have to. So I asked, would you love to let it go? Now, I have another question. What if the discovery of that answer led you to manifest with great ease? It's like a block, right, that's there, and it was removed. And it's not a block that gets removed and then it gets clogged up again. This is a block that when you remove it, you release it forever. It's a permanent change. That's what we're talking about, permanent change. So what if the discovery of that answer would lead you to manifest with great ease? Of course. I don't need to ask you that question. I know the answer. Now, our results will change when our desire for the change is stronger than the desire to stay the way we are or to accept the way things are now. So what does it really mean? Think about that. It means that you simply have to decide. You make a decision to change. You don't have to know how. You don't have to know what the resistance is. You simply have to make a decision to change. Now, I'm going to ask you this question. How many of you decided you're going to make the change? Type in the chat box. Now, I would expect out of all the people that are on this call right now, we're going to see an affirmative answer from every single person that's here. Now, I want you to think about this quote. This was a quote that I heard probably about 46 years ago. Dissatisfaction stimulates growth. Dissatisfaction stimulates growth. So if you're dissatisfied with an area of your life, or maybe all areas of your life, I certainly was many, many years ago. If you're dissatisfied, that could be the thing that propels you forward. It's like the change, the desire for the change is stronger. It's like, I no longer want to live my life this way. If you're somebody who perhaps has been living paycheck to paycheck, or you're someone who has been longing for better results for a long time and you just can't seem to get them, right? Or you've had maybe a little bit of change, but not the level that you're really seeking or that you desire, right? That's dissatisfaction. And dissatisfaction can be an emotion that can propel you forward, can cause you or invite you to make a decision that you're no longer settling for anything other than the best for you, because that is exactly what you deserve. That's what every one of you deserves, is to experience that. Now, how many of you believe that you have resistance right now? How many of you believe you have resistance? Just type in the chat box if you believe that you have resistance right now. Yes, okay, I do. Check marks. Yes, okay. Yes, of course. Okay, perfect. We all do. We all have it. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little experiment. How many of you are up for an experiment? All right. Okay, this is going to be fun. We're going to do a couple different things here. We're going to do an analysis. We're going to do an experiment. So I'm going to ask you to type answers in the chat box as we do this little experiment. Now, here are your instructions. I'm going to show you an image, and I want you to tell me how many rows of squares. Rows of squares. Row, it goes across, horizontal. How many of those rows do you see on this image? Now, I'm going to display the image just for a couple of seconds. Okay, just for a couple of seconds, and then I'm going to stop the sharing, and I'm going to ask you, how many rows of squares do you see? Here we go. Take a look at that. All right. How many rows of squares did you see? Let's go to the chat box and see what we see. Okay. Infinite. Okay. Well, this is fun. All right. We're seeing all kinds of different numbers, which surprises me, actually. Numerous, says Candace. Okay. Infinite squares. Yeah. The question was, how many rows of squares? How many rows of squares? Many of you got it right. Many of you did get it right. Okay. The answer is 4. The answer was 4. Okay. So you got that right. Okay. Let's go back. I'm going to share my screen again. We're going to go a little bit further with this. All right. So the answer was 4. Okay, new instructions. I'm going to show you the image again. It'll be the same image. Now, I want you to count how many squares there are going across the row, okay? Now, it's not a trick question, just how many squares do you see going across the row? There were 4 rows. How many squares do you see going across? I'll show the image again, but only for a few seconds. Here we go. There, I left it on a little longer that time. All right, how many squares in the row did you see? How many squares in the row did you see? Okay, I'm laughing because they're when I see a different response to what it is. Okay, all right, there were 5. Okay, 5. There were 5. Okay, some of you saw a different number. Some of you saw 4 rows. Some of you saw 5 squares. That's okay. No judgment here. We're just doing this for awareness. Okay, we're going to go a little bit further now. Okay, I'm going to show you the image again. Now, this time, I'll leave it up for just a couple seconds longer. I want you to tell me how many circles you see. Okay, how many circles you see. Are you ready? Okay, let's go. How many circles do you see? It'll be the same image. Or how many of you see circles? How many of you see circles? All right. How many of you saw circles? None. Okay, nope, nope. Okay. But some did, right? Some did. You notice the answers in the chat box? Some people did see the circles. Interesting. But a lot of people are saying no, they didn't see circles. Let's go back. Okay, it's good to, Kayla says, I always do. I love it, Kay. Okay, so allow me to show you where the circles are. Okay, I'm going to show you the image again, but let me show you where the circles are. All right, they're right here. Can you guys see my cursor? It's right here. It's between the squares. There's 4 on the top row. There's 4 on the second row. There's 4 on the third row and 4 on the fourth row. Are you now seeing the circles? Are you now seeing the circles? Did you see them? Yes, okay. Interesting. Yeah. Were they there before? Ah, Jean didn't see them. Jean, I had the same experience. I didn't see them either. Somebody asked me, like, do you see the circles? No, I didn't see the circles. All I saw was squares. Okay, so Keith said I didn't see. Okay, so Keith, you and I are alike. I didn't see them either. All right, you just put them there. That's right, G, I just put them there. No, I didn't. It's the same image that we were looking at all the time. Yes, Heidi says, I saw them once you pointed them out. That is significant, Heidi. Thank you for saying that. And G, I love your sense of humor. It's awesome. Okay, so here are the circles. Once I pointed them out, they're right there. Those are the circles. Now, what's fascinating about that is that because I directed your attention to look for squares, right? You're looking for squares. You're looking for how many rows of squares. You're looking for how many squares across. It caused you to look at things with a perception that had already been created. It's caused by your beliefs. It's the same thing with resistance. If you don't believe there are opportunities for you, you won't see them when they're right in front of your face unless you change your beliefs. It's really important you understand that. You must change your beliefs. Now, I've got a way to do that in 30 days. Okay, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. A way that you can do that in 30 days. All right, now you won't consistently stay connected to your outcome either unless your beliefs are changed as well. And when you do change your beliefs, you're going to be in the spirit of allowing. That's when the resistance goes away. It's absolutely fascinating. So how do you know if you're in resistance? You know by how you feel. Like if you are, now let's take a look at that a little bit deeper. If you're feeling frustrated, you're actually in a state of resistance. It doesn't mean you stay there. And it certainly doesn't mean you have to stay there. But if you're feeling hopeless or desperate or doubtful or worrying or fear of the future, or you're feeling an urgent need, it was interesting because one of the responses, there was someone that submitted and they were definitely desperate and they were in urgent need and please pray, like begging almost. That is a wonderful example of someone who's in resistance and they're in it big time, like deep in it, and they probably don't even know that they're there. Right? Resistance is what's holding you back. Now, I know it is something that's so powerful and strong, but you can equally make a belief system, condition your mind so powerful and so strong that you get out of your way with consistency. And that's what you want to do. Now, we're going to do something next. Now, this is fun. So, really stay with us here. We're going to do a personal analysis. And we're going to determine your level of resistance, okay? This is very, very important that you follow through with what I'm about to guide you through. I'm going to be asking you questions, and you're going to be recording your own answers. They're for your own use. You don't have to share them at all. There's no judgment here, as we've said. And we will say, and we always say, we don't judge people. It's just important to know where you are. No, there's two things. This is what Bob Proctor used to say. There's two things that are very valuable for you. One is knowing where you are and knowing where you want to go. So we're talking about where you are right now. So here are your instructions. I'm going to be asking you a series of questions. Now, we're not going to do this like rapid fire. We'll take a little bit of time here. There will be a rating system for you to identify your answer. And I only want you to answer honestly. Remember, this is not something you're typing in the chat box. This is something you're simply going to write down. Now, I'm assuming you all have pen and paper with you right now, okay, or a notepad or something. Okay, so you want to record your answer to each question. It'll be based on a numbering system, like a number value. I'll explain that in a minute. And this answer is going to lead you to awareness, which I'm going to expand on even further, which is so valuable to you. Now, you won't have to share your answers unless you want to, okay? Unless you want to. Now, here we go. The scale is you're going to score 1 if the answer is never. You will write down 2 if your answer is rarely. You'll write down 3 if the answer is sometimes. You'll write down 4 if the answer is often. You'll write down the number 5 if the answer is always. It's not more than one answer. It's only one answer, okay? So let's look at the first question. How often do you feel frustrated with your progress or lack thereof? 1, never. 2, rarely. 3, sometimes. 4, often. 5, always. How often do you feel frustrated with your progress or lack thereof? 1, never. 2, rarely. 3, sometimes. 4, often. 5, always. Write down your answer. Just write it down, record it for your own sake. Okay, let's go to question number 2. How often do you feel hopeless or have doubt about achieving your desires? How often do you feel hopeless or you have doubt about achieving your desires? 1, never. 2, rarely. 3, sometimes. 4, often. 5, always. Now, we don't need to take a lot of time. Just what answer comes to you intuitively. You know the answer to this question. Write it down. How often do you feel hopeless or have doubt about achieving your goals? Never. 1, 2, rarely. 3, sometimes. 4, often. 5, always. Okay, let's go to 3. There's only 5 questions, by the way. How often do you feel desperate and urgently in need of assistance or support? 1, never. 2, rarely. 3, sometimes. 4, often. 5, always. How often do you feel desperate or urgently in need of assistance or support? 1, never. 2, rarely. 3, sometimes. 4, often. 5, always. Okay, write down your answer. Let's go to question number 4. How often do you feel afraid of what the future holds? How often do you feel afraid of what the future holds? 1, never. 2, rarely. 3, sometimes. 4, often. 5, always. How often do you feel afraid of what the future holds? Now, you should be writing these numbers down yourself because you're going to need to add them up, okay? I see some people are putting some things in the chat box. Hopefully, you're recording your own answers, okay? I don't need to see your answers. I would just like you to write them down so you remember what they are. We're going to total them up in a moment. Okay, question number 5. How often do you fear that you won't have what you desire? 1, never. 2, rarely. 3, sometimes. 4, often. 5, always. How often do you fear that you won't have what you desire? 1, never. 2, rarely. 3, sometimes. 4, often. 5, always. That's the 5th question. How often do you fear that you won't have what you desire? Now let's go to the next one. I want you to add up your score. Add up your score. You don't need to share it with me. Just add up your score. You can if you want to. You can share it if you want to. That's totally up to you. Or again, no judgment here. It's very important that you are willing. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, good. It's good to see the wow, Darcy. Holy smokes, Darcy. 3 months? Seriously? I don't know if I've ever met a 3. Okay. All right. Good to know. Okay. All right. All right. Oh, that was maybe for one of the questions. Okay. Good to know. We're seeing, and I'm not surprised. You can't get a 3. Oh, you can't get it. You're right, Laura Lee. You're absolutely right. You can't. Well, wait a minute. It wasn't never. Hold on a second here. Where's my? Oh, yeah, you're right. You can't get a 3. You can't get a 3. That's right. I appreciate that. Get 1 point for never. That's right. Okay. All right. Let's go and look at the what does it mean? What does it mean, right? I'm sure you're really curious to see what does it mean. But before we get there, there's no judgment. This is really resistance and it can be changed. Okay. It can be changed like that. Identifying and acknowledging resistance is the first step to overcoming it. All right. So we're just identifying. Here's the interpretation. So you have a score somewhere in here. Low resistance, that's the 5. You're generally allowing good things to flow into your life. All right. That's a really good place to be. Now, I don't know if anybody was there, but that is really, I would say, ultimately where you would strive to get to. 6 to 10, moderate. You experience some resistance, which can hinder your manifestation efforts. 11 to 15, high resistance. You often block the flow of positive energy and may struggle to manifest your desires. 16 to 20, very high resistance. You are frequently in a state of resistance, significantly limiting your ability to achieve your goals. 21 to 25, full-on resistance. You're in full-on resistant mode, making it very difficult to manifest your desires. Now, what's fascinating about this is that there isn't anyone, there's no score that is no resistance. And as Laura Lee pointed out, 5 is really, if you answered never to this, to the answers, and that was your score, you scored 5. And if you had a rarely, one of those was rarely, it moved you into the 6 to 10, which means moderate resistance. And this means you experience some resistance, which can hinder your manifestation efforts. And what's fascinating about that is everyone has resistance. Hence the reason why it's so valuable to get in the study and stay in the study. I mean, I shared with you at the beginning of this event, I don't have to work any longer. I could retire. I don't want to retire. I love what I do so much. I'm passionate about this work. And so I know that if I didn't study and I didn't do the work that I was doing, my results would change. It would change if I wasn't implementing what I'm learning and expanding my awareness. That's what study does. I remember one time being at a Bob Proctor event and someone asked Bob the question, how do I accelerate my results? And he said, awareness. Where do you get awareness? From studying. You have to study. You have to keep studying. So if you're a student and you're a serious student like I am and my team, then you're in the right place. So what does this mean? Now what? Well, you have to decide to get out of your own way. And I believe that's why you're here. You've made a decision to get out of your own way. So let's look at this a little bit deeper. See, resistance can be in different degrees or intensities depending on what your beliefs are. All right. We're all very unique. Every single one of us that is on this call right now, we all came here with our own set of beliefs. And there's no two that are alike. We're all different, just like our DNA is different from the next person. So your resistance can show up when you start to think of something you want to do, or something you'd like to have, or somewhere you want to go, or something you'd like to create. And I'm going to talk about that as I get into some stories on resistance, my own personal examples. I'll also talk about some of my clients as well. And so you may have resistance in many areas of your life. You could have resistance in your financial area. You could have resistance with your relationships, with your health, with your overall well-being, with many things. I certainly did. I had a huge amount of resistance in my life as well. And as I said, I still have resistance because everybody does. But let's look at some stories of allowing, and let's talk about how resistance can be removed or replaced and open up for allowing more good in your life. Now, for those of you that are new to anything that I've ever done, you've probably never seen this photo before. This is the photo of the home that I was raised in. And I am the youngest child of 4 children. I had 2 older brothers. One of my brothers died. I had 2 older brothers. I have an older sister, still have an older brother, and my parents. And the 6 of us lived in this 600 square foot home. And I'm grateful that we had a home, but we were really struggling. You know, when I was a child, my parents really struggled. My father had a variety of different types of jobs. The one that he had that was the longest, he was a janitor. My mother worked for the most part as either a nighttime cleaner in offices, or she worked in a factory. And ultimately, her longest career was being a checkout clerk in a grocery store. And my parents really struggled to make ends meet. And so what I was exposed to as a child was a lot of anger, huge amount of dysfunction, a lot of abuse, psychological, physical, emotional abuse. And it is what it is. I mean, it really contributed to a belief system that was very firmly packed into my subconscious mind. And I really believed that I was one of the people that was destined for poverty. That's what I believed. I felt that there were people in the world that were chosen or selected to be wealthy. And I did not think I was one of them, or anyone in my family was one of them. And I don't know if any of you have ever had that belief, but if that's a belief, you're going to be in full-on resistance to prosperity in your life. And by the time I was a teenager, I was working and I loved earning money, but I also had started to accumulate a lot of debt, credit card debt. And then I'd get a consolidation loan to get rid of the credit card debt. Then I'd get more credit cards and run those up. So now I'd have more credit card debt to go along with my consolidation loan. And it was just a constant battle, right? Constantly frustrated. Now I'm sharing this because I want people to understand I wasn't born and raised with a silver spoon in my mouth. I wasn't encouraged to go out and make things happen. In fact, it was the opposite. And so the beliefs that were firmly impressed in my subconscious mind were destructive beliefs, non-supportive beliefs, definitely not empowering beliefs. And so I had to make a conscious decision to change it. And I'm glad that I did. But it helps me understand what struggle is like because I was in it. I understand struggle in many different ways, and I'll talk about that in other areas of my life as well. And if we look at my report cards, I put my report cards on the floor yesterday and I took a photo of some of them, but my report cards, I was definitely a below average kind of student. And, you know, my grades were, you know, relatively low, and I didn't like school. Not that there's anything wrong with school whatsoever. It's just, I didn't want to be there. I didn't like being told what to do. I didn't want to study what they were telling me to study. So I just did whatever was the bare minimum to get through school. And I graduated high school, which was wonderful that I did graduate high school. And so it's not education or being educated. Education is wonderful. I absolutely believe in education. But I just want to show you that sometimes people have resistance around thinking that they have to be raised in a certain environment in order to produce certain results. And it's simply not true. You have to allow luxury and prosperity into your life. You simply have to open up and understand that you believe it, that it is yours, that you're worthy of it. Now, this is a photo of one of the homes that I bought. And this particular home was 7,000 square feet. It backed onto a private golf course. It was stunningly beautiful, had won design awards, etc. And I'm only sharing that with you to show contrast. And the reason why I manifested that in my life is because I allowed abundance to come into my life. I believed that it was there. And this is where you condition your mind accordingly. This is important. This is what I was talking about earlier. We have a 30-day program to show you how to condition your mind to allow everything that you desire to show up into your life. Now, I've been manifesting real estate after real estate after real estate in my life. I'm in love with real estate. In fact, Wendy, who's on the call, calls me a closet realtor because I'm so in, and I love that. I think that's a really, cool name. But the point that I want to share with you is that if you see a home, like there's a number of different homes on television or shows on television, and some of them are like luxury waterfront is one of the ones that my husband and I like watching. There's also shows in Beverly Hills where you see realtors and these are reality shows. They're showing multi-million-dollar properties. There's a new one about Manhattan. I think it's on Netflix. Haven't seen it yet, but I noticed it was there the other day. And so what happens is this, and this is an example, okay? I want to share this with you for the sake of understanding how this resistance shows up. You see something and you go, wow. And then what happens is you start to think about how much does it cost? And you see the price, and resistance will have you immediately dismiss it. You'll immediately say, you can't afford it, right? That's what'll come in your mind. Where does that come from? It comes from the beliefs, okay? It's important to understand, where does it come from? It comes from the beliefs. However, if you pushed aside the resistance, and as Vladdy had suggested before we even started today, open up your mind, open up your heart to what's possible. And if you just looked at something and you saw the thing, whatever it is, whether it's a home, a multi-million-dollar home, or whatever it is, and you simply ask yourself this question, do I want it? I want you to understand how important what I'm saying to you is. When you ask yourself, do I want it? And the answer is yes, it's an affirmative answer, you can manifest it. Now, you may think that's just a bunch of baloney. It's absolutely true. How might be the next question on your mind? It's by allowing it into your life. That's what I love to teach people, is how to build the belief system within you that's so firmly in place that you allow it. I remember one time my husband and I were walking down the street in Florida, and we're walking just north of Tampa. That's where Mark lives. And we're walking by a home, and there was a for sale sign on the lawn, and I stopped. And we're holding hands as we're walking. And Denny's like, what are you doing? And I said, well, this home is for sale. And he said, so what? And I said, all we have to ask ourselves is, do I want it? And of course, he's rolling his eyes back in his head at this point because Denny doesn't think the way Peggy thinks. And that's okay, right? There's probably people on this call that don't think the way your significant other thinks. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. You do not have to allow their beliefs to influence your beliefs. And I certainly don't let Denny's beliefs influence my beliefs. And that's not a nasty thing. It's a loving thing because I know he can experience more too. So we see this house that's for sale. We're in Florida. It's backing onto a golf course. It's a beautiful home. And I write down the realtor's number and I decide to call him. And he's like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm going to go visit it. And he goes, what for? And I said, I want to see if I want it. Like I want to go inside and check out the interior. And he's like, oh boy. And so we went to see it that day. And I told him I'm making an offer. And he's like, where's the money going to come from? And my answer was this, wherever it is now. Now, I learned that from my good friend, Bob Proctor, who was talking about the Maharishi, who wanted to start the transcendental meditation process in the world. And he told his team, we're going to bring this to the world. And they said, well, that's going to take a lot of money. And they said, where's the money going to come from? And he said, wherever it is now. And I think that's a very important understanding, very important lesson, wherever it is now. Now, you may be hearing that and allowing your resistance to come up right now. Now, if you're feeling in a resistance with that right now, you're in your own way. Like, I know if I want something, I can have it. I just have to decide. You have to decide, do you want it? All right. Do you want it? And that is the opening to you allowing the good to come into your life. All right. And another time I decided I wanted to buy another property on the water here, relatively close to our home, a cottage. Now, my husband didn't want that at all. In fact, he was pretty much against the idea. But I didn't allow his belief to influence me. But I didn't go and do something behind his back. What I did was I imagined, using my mental faculty, imagination, I imagined that we purchased the cottage, we owned a cottage, and that we were enjoying it with our family and friends. And the photo you're looking at is I'm on the left, Denny, my husband, is on the right, and that's on the swim platform of the cottage that I bought. So I visualized and imagined that my husband was turning to me as we're looking at the sun setting directly in front of us. And he was saying, thank you. Thank you. I scripted it. I put it in my Power Life script. This is what I imagined, not once, not twice, over and over and over again. And then I found the property. And I talked to my husband and I said, I'm going to go and negotiate a deal. It was a for sale by owner property. And he agreed. And I went and I purchased that property. And, you know, this morning we were in our Club Achieve class and we were studying and we're talking about inheritance, right? We're talking about inheritance. Inheritance, what does that really mean? It means that you inherit something, you're given something. You see, the universe constantly wants to give to you, but your resistance is blocking the universe from giving you the good that you desire. And interestingly enough, when I had purchased that cottage, I didn't know where the money was going to come from. I'm a free circulator. I love circulating money in the world. Yes, I'm an investor as well, but I'm circulating. I didn't have the cash to buy that cottage at the time. And I just believed I would attract the money to purchase this place at the time that it was due. And what was fascinating is I received an inheritance. Now, here's what's even more fascinating. I purchased this property, I think it was around 10 years ago now. And it was from, and I actually put the money down from an inheritance that I received from my grandmother's passing. And she died in 1980. She died years and years and years ago. I didn't even know that her estate had not been settled. I had no idea. And this is one of the exciting things. You don't have to know how you're going to have these things or experience these things in your life. In fact, that is the greatest lesson I've ever learned. You don't have to know how. And that's for anything. You don't have to know how. But what you must do is feel as if it's in your life now. You must do that. That's how you allow it into your life. I think back to when I decided to become an author. Now I have 23 books in about 40 languages, sold all over the world, been on the New York Times bestseller list. I have books translated into many different languages. In fact, my trilogy, Savvy Wisdom, we just announced is being made into a motion picture. Now, how does that happen for a girl who barely made it through high school, who was raised in poverty? It's because I made a decision to get out of my own way. But I remember when I was writing my first book on being the creator of your destiny, there was resistance there. Now, what was the resistance? It showed up. Remember earlier, I had a slide and I said that resistance shows up based on how you feel. So the resistance showed up. Who are you to write a book? Who would want to read anything that you write? Those were the thoughts that came into my consciousness. Where did they come from? They came from deeply embedded beliefs. I knew I had to change my belief about being an author, and I had to see and believe that I was already successful as an author before I was going to even put pen to paper. And that's what I did. You see, resistance gets in the way of a lot of authors. I work with authors. That's one of the things that I do. I teach authors in our Epitome Author program how to create success as an author. And it's absolutely anyone can do it. I say the prerequisite is desire, but the truth is if you can fog a mirror, you can become successful today. It's absolutely the truth. And so now I'm a prosperity mentor, multimillionaire. I've earned 8 figures in the 30 years that I've been in business. I've been studying for half a century, would never think of stopping. I created a process called the Power Life Script, which thousands of people are using all over the world to change their lives. I'm a New York Times bestselling author, 23 books, and my book series is now optioned to be made into a motion picture. And I'm not done. There's a lot more that I have intended and planned. Now, if it hasn't manifested in my life right now, it's because of resistance, but I'm allowing it in. I practice what I preach as well. I think about my husband. See, I had gone through a divorce and it was painful. And I reached a point where I had realized from going through that divorce that I never felt worthy of love. And I don't know any of you that are on the call right now that have had an experience of not having the love relationship that you desire to have in your life. It could be from that. There's resistance there. And so when I realized that the resistance that I had was a feeling of unworthiness as it relates to being loving and having love and receiving love, I decided to change it. What did I do? I conditioned my mind in a new way. That's what this new program is all about. I conditioned my mind to believe that I was worthy of love. I didn't have to know how I was going to attract my husband into my life. I just had to believe I was already in that relationship. And I attracted Denis. In fact, he came to my door. I met him one day when I was out walking my dog because my friends were saying, well, how are you going to, meet him? You need to go to the bars or you need to go online or, go to the dating sites. Like, no. And they're like, well, how do you think you're going to meet him? Are you resisting? It's like, no, I believe he's already here. How it's going to happen is how it's going to happen. We can't force it either. We can't force it. And that's what sometimes people do. If you're feeling like, or like, I really want this, that's resistance. It's resistance. Because think about this. If it was in your life now, think about this. If it was in your life now, and it could be any goal that you have, you can think of any goal. If that was in your life right now, how would you be feeling? Think about it. Like I knew that for me to have love in my life, I had to feel as if it was already there, as if I was already experiencing the love. And that's what I did. Excuse me. Within 2 weeks, I met Denis. And a couple of years later, we were married. And we're still married. We've been together. I met him 20 years ago. And we'll be celebrating our 17th wedding anniversary in 2 weeks. And I allowed it into my life. And I'm so glad that I did. He really is, I feel, my greatest accomplishment. One day, Danny and I were sitting on the front porch of our home, and he said to me, he said, honey, you've attracted a lot of things in your life. What is the one thing that you're most proud of? And I said, well, that's easy. And he said, what is it? And I said, you. And he said, me? I said, yes. Like when I think I went from relationship to relationship, I mean, it was a source of pain. It was not fun. And, I love being with my husband. He really is such a gift in my life. I tell him every day how much I love him, how much I appreciate him. In fact, he told me that's one of the things he loves about me most, how much I appreciate him. You see, Wayne Dyer said this. He said, when you appreciate life, your life will appreciate. When you appreciate life, your life will appreciate. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Kayla just said you can also reallow love that left and came back to you. Definitely. Yes, I love that, Kayla. Thank you for that. Kayla's on my team. She's also a gift in my life. She is my daughter-in-law. And I love the spirit of my team. Roddy and Vladdy. Roddy and Vladdy were on earlier before we even started at noon. And they're always giving. And I'm so grateful for them. I also allowed them into my life. I attracted them into my life. Here's another allowing experience that I had. And this one's fairly recent. So the picture on the left was from 2.5 years ago. And that was me in the hospital. I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. It had metastasized, not the kind of diagnosis that anybody wants, but I went through a version of hell. Let's just call it that. But there were many gifts in that very dark and challenging experience. Many, many gifts. Now, the cancer was in my neck. So if you're in my tongue, actually. So if you're looking at the picture on the left, what you're looking at are burns. I was burnt, just like a 3rd-degree burn, like a burn victim would be. I was burnt from the radiation. I couldn't eat, didn't eat. In fact, I had a stomach tube for months and I was in an enormous amount of pain. And I just visualized myself as being completely healthy. That's what I was doing. I listened to my Power Life script for hours every single day, every single day. I became so weak from the treatment. I think the treatment almost killed me that I didn't finish the treatment. And I remember being in the hospital and the oncologist came to see me and she said, Peggy, you need to go downstairs for more radiation. I said, I can't do it. It's killing me. And so she didn't like that, but I said to her, it's fine. I'm healed. It's good. I see myself as healed. Now, I don't know if she's really a believer in these materials. In fact, I think she's now a believer and she loves my Savvy Wisdom series because in book 2, I talked about the experience. But Savvy Wisdom has been written as a trilogy based on my life. I created characters. Savvy is Bob Proctor. Sophie is me. Anyways, back to this. So what I did was I visualized. So the picture that you're looking at on the left was taken in October 2021. I got out of the hospital at the end of October, and the picture on the right is from January 2022. So just a couple of months later, I was back to work and I was sent for some scans to see if the cancer was gone from my neck and my tongue. And I already knew it was gone. I already believed it was gone. And so my oncologist called me and said, I don't believe it. And I said, what? She said, it's gone, completely gone. You didn't finish your treatment and yet it's all gone. And I said to my husband, take a photo. And I put my arms up in the air in the victory pose. And it's like, yeah. Now, what's fascinating about this experience is this, and I want you to really hear this, okay? I already felt the joy, the gratitude of being healthy long before the phone call came in. I was already there in consciousness, okay? I was already there in consciousness, even though there was no evidence of it in sight. It's very important that you understand that. Very important that you understand what I'm saying here. This is why, yeah, wow, Candace, thank you for that. The power of belief, Jackie G says, is so phenomenal. Thank you, Seda, says Peggy. That's an awesome testimony. You know, when I think about, Valine says, you're brave to share this and sharing this with the world, Peggy. Thank you. So many people need to hear this story and help others with similar diagnosis. Thank you, Connie. Connie says you're an inspiration. You know, when I was diagnosed, in fact, my friend Bob Proctor, I mean, he knew what was going on. I mean, he had intuition that was such a well-developed intuitive factor. When I was told by the doctor that it was likely cancer, they hadn't confirmed it yet. Bob called me that afternoon. Now, I was feeling overwhelmed with like a holy crap moment. Like, what does this mean? All right, because I never had a diagnosis like that. My brother had died from cancer. My father had cancer. My mother died from cancer. I mean, it was in the family. It was prevalent. And not only that, they told me that they knew the cancer was in my neck, but it was secondary. It was secondary. It started somewhere else. So then they started to investigate. They started looking at my lungs, my liver, the uterus. I mean, they're just looking my brain. They started doing full-on scans, PET scan, which is the greatest scan that you can have. They started scanning because they want to find out where else is it. And they discovered it when they stuck a camera up my nose. And it was fascinating because I was sitting in the oncologist's office and I was sitting there with a chemo oncologist, a surgeon oncologist, and a radiation oncologist. My husband's beside me. They stuck the camera up my nose and there was a camera there. Denny said he was watching it and the oncologist said, there it is. And they found it. It was in my tongue, at the back of my tongue. Now, oddly enough, I have a friend that lived in Vancouver or in the Vancouver area. He was diagnosed almost at the exact same time with the exact same cancer. Started in his tongue and went to his neck. Now, he didn't make it. There was a celebration of life for him a couple of weeks ago. He did not make it. I just want you to understand how valuable it is, these materials. Can they potentially save your life? I absolutely know they can. They've saved mine. And not just then, but they saved it early days too, because I was a suicidal young woman. And so I share this because I know it'll help people. But I remember talking to Bob about it, and he's like, don't tell anyone. And I didn't have any problem with sharing this with people because if you know me, I'm very open and authentic and I'm very real. I'm going to tell you what is. Everybody goes through challenges. This is another reason why you really need to strengthen your mind so that if or when you do go through challenges, that you can go through them so that, yeah, that's right, Sonia, so that you can go through them with greater ease, right? Now, yeah, it was a tough experience that I went through. It was. It's something I wouldn't wish on anyone, but I got through it. And there were times I didn't feel like listening to an audio. I didn't feel like focusing on what I wanted. I was in an enormous amount of pain and a lot of discomfort, but I knew that if I didn't, I did not want to go the other way. That was the alternative. Go the other way, end up where my friend ended up. That was not an option for me. I have much more to do in this world, much more to do in this world. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. You're very, very sweet. Okay, so when you think about allowing, I mean, what really matters? You know, for me, my priority is my family. My family. There's Kayla up in the left-hand corner who's married to my son. That's my son, Michelle, and my daughter-in-law, Kayla. That's her daughter below, the little adorable Aria, and that's James with the microphone on the right-hand side. That's me and my son in the middle, and me and my husband on the right-hand side. That was at Kayla and Michelle's wedding. And I share this because, you know, sometimes, and there are people out there in the world and we see them. And part of the reason why I put that comment in today is because there are people that are out there that are talking about, you know, shopping on Rodeo Drive and flying in a private jet and all this other stuff. It's not about the stuff. It's not about the things that you can get or you can have. They're wonderful. Don't get me wrong. It's like that statement, I've been rich and I've been poor and rich is better. But it's what really matters to you most. Family matters to me most. And I love that when you have more prosperity in your life, it allows you to do more with the people that you love or people that you don't even know. Like, I love that. Like, when I think about what we're doing here, we do a lot of stuff for free. We give a lot of stuff away. I created something I'm going to show you in a few minutes that is a gift for you. It costs me money and time to make it. I'm giving it to you. I'm going to give it to you. Why? Because I want to help millions and millions and millions of people. That's what I want to do. And I want you to understand fulfillment. What does fulfillment really feel like? What does joy really feel like? Really, that's what you're striving for. It's not that you want to have a luxurious house. Why you go for any goal is based on how it will make you feel. That's why we go for these things. We go for these things because of how they make us feel. I love donating to the Children's Hospital, CHEO, Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario. I support the Children's Hospital here in my city. I support the Children's Hospital in Toronto. It's called Sick Kids. Also have supported in many ways the Unstoppable Foundation through Cynthia Kersey's organization. And it's such a thrill to give. It's wonderful. The more you have to give. The more you can share. The more you share, the more good is being drawn back to you. That's part of allowing, right? Is giving. Giving is very, very important. It's a very important part of being open to receive more. Now, when you give with no expectation. You're giving just generously from your heart. Don't have any idea if or when. It's not like you're giving, holding on tight, reluctant to release because you think that, oh, that's all you've got. If you think that's all you've got, that's all you've got. There's an abundance out there in the universe. It's not the end of it. There's more, plenty more where that came from. So you got to be generous in spirit. So these are some of the photos that I took of with me and my wonderful friend and mentor, Bob Proctor, from over the years, you know, flying with him as well in his private jet, sharing the stage with him, being with him at his home, you know, gifting him with certain things, being at his birthday parties, being in his studio recording Savvy Wisdom, the first book, because he recorded it with me in his studio. And, you know, when I think about Bob, I met him in January 1979, and he was bigger than life to me at that time. And this was a gentleman that really understood what success really is. And he certainly was somebody who didn't do what he did for the money. He did it because he was madly in love with helping people. If any of you ever got to know him or work with him, constantly giving. In fact, when Bob was in the hospital, this is the last picture, the one right in the middle here, me with a red jacket. That was the last photo that was taken. I had dinner at Bob's house just before Christmas. He passed away just over a month later. And he ended up in the hospital in January. And when he was in the hospital, he sent me a text and he said, hospitals aren't meant for people like you and me. And I knew what he meant, right? It's not filled with positive thinking people. But he also, when he was in the hospital, I remember he asked Brian, his son, who's a wonderful human being, he asked Brian what he could do for him. He's laying in the hospital. He's in pretty bad shape and he's asking people, what can I do for you? That's just the kind of man that he was. And I'm blessed that I attracted him into my life. But it was the resistance. Like if I had resisted thinking that I wasn't worthy of sharing the stage with Bob Proctor or wasn't worthy of his friendship, I would have never had his friendship. But, you know, Bob really invited people to understand that we're all the same. We really are. And every one of us has this power locked up within us. And he loved it when people would be serious students. He loved it when people would study. But more importantly, he loved seeing results. He was there for you because he loved that people would take action. Because he knew from studying Napoleon Hill that decision makers are successful people. People that make decisions quickly. They are avoiding their resistance. I think about a gentleman, Tom, that I was blessed to work with, who made a decision that he wanted to increase his income. And he used the Power Life script to do it. So what the Power Life script really does is it creates a new belief system for you so that the resistance is gone by affirming and reaffirming the result that you want, connecting it to the emotion of what does it feel like now that your income has multiplied by 10 times. But you don't do it just once. It's not enough to do it once. You got to do it so that it's so vividly real to your senses. Even when there's no evidence of it in your life, even when your results aren't there, you got to continue to do it. You got to give it your energy of this is done. This is my life. This is what I have in my life. Feeling the gratitude, knowing that it's already there. That's what Tom did. And that's what Tom created. Think about Karen Allen. She was a single mom of a couple children. And she said that she didn't think a struggling single mom could become a millionaire. And I said, absolutely, you can. You're in your own way. Get out of your own way. And she sent me a message a couple of years ago saying she did it. She accomplished that goal. She became a millionaire by accepting that into her consciousness. Now, expecting are part of allowing. Okay, accepting and expecting are part of allowing. You see, Karen sought guidance from me because she knew there was more possible for her. That's why she did it. And she applied, and that's why she created the results that she wanted. I think about Jane, a client of mine from about 12 years ago now, who was in debt. She had $1.5 million in debt when I met her. And now she's generating 7 figures in income. And that was a struggle. And I remember when I first started working with her, it was her results. She was allowing them to keep her awake at night. Now, I want you to think about this for a moment. Allowing results to keep you awake at night means you're in resistance, right? If you're thinking about what you don't have, if you're focused on your struggle, you are in resistance. Maybe some of you can relate to what I'm saying. Maybe some of you can relate to what Jane went through. I helped her get rid of the resistance and allow good to come into her life. And she did and has and completely transformed her results. Dr. Vidya, a medical doctor, already successful, a consultant in this business, and she wanted more freedom. She wanted to have freedom. And I think that's what most people want. They want the freedom to do what they want, when they want, with whoever they want, whenever they want. But she didn't only want the freedom for herself, she wanted it for her family. That's what she wanted. She wanted freedom for her family. And like me, Dr. Vidya's family is her priority, and she created it. But it said, help me. See, that's the thing. I guide people, but what they do with it is really up to them. I'm going to give them the best of what I've got. But what they do with it is really their decision. I think of Dr. Stacia Pierce, who contacted me, and she said, I want to work with you. I want some private coaching. We do private coaching. You can find out about that. Book a call with Laddie. She'll talk to you about what's available, if it's available. It's not always available. And she said, your coaching and information has made a world of difference in my life and my business. In fact, she said her bottom line doubled. Now, again, I'm not saying that to brag. Dr. Stacia made that happen. She was already a success. But why would somebody who's already a success look for better results? Because they know it can get better and better and better. It doesn't matter how good it is in your life can get better and better and better. It's part of a natural human experience to desire more. It's part of who we are to desire more. And you can have more when you allow more into your life. So just imagine for a moment if 1 year from now, you fully embrace the power of allowing. What kind of difference would that make in your life? Type in the chat box. Just imagine a year from now that you are no longer in resistance. What would be happening in your life? Type in the chat box. I'd like to see some of your answers there. I like what Jackie G said here. I remember being at a consultant training and Bob was being mobbed by people. And I was thinking, how can I even get close to him? And suddenly he appeared right in front of me and said, you look like you need a hug. And I felt my spirit rise with a hug. I love that, Jackie G. That's awesome. Okay, we're getting answers here. Yeah, freedom. Yeah, going on vacations, miracles. I love it. I'd be smiling 23/7. I like that, Connie. A world of difference. Absolutely. So much joy. I love that. Free, be a total success. I'd be a millionairess and living in my dream home. Feels good, right, Diana? I'll be living my magical reality with my forever love. I love that. Living an authentic, wealthy, happy life, Candace. Oh, Candace, you're on track for all of that and more. Love that. Peace of mind, having paid off a home. Freedom, having a best friend. Love it. I'm loving and living life to my dreams. Oh, yeah. I will be in pure joy. Happy life with my loved ones. Love that. Peace of mind, freedom, very joyful, vibrantly effective, immersed in creating from my heart. Freedom, smiling, working, freedom, free and magical. I like that. Caroline, free. I like that you're still working. That's fun. Free and magical, feeling at peace and so much freedom that I can help and inspire others. Love that, Laura. Oh, that's beautiful. Having time to exercise and nurture my body. Perfect. Living my rock star author life, says Grace. Absolutely. Forever joyful, plain and simple. Beautiful, Heidi. Okay. Diane's going to a dentist appointment. Okay. You can watch the rest later. Connie, I'm feeling free, safe, hopeful, joyous, happy in love, relieved that I'm serving millions. I love that. I love that Connie said that. Relief can be a good, positive emotion for sure. Relief. Sometimes people think relief is a bad emotion. It's a very positive emotion, very positive. Hanging out with you, says JJ. I like that. Being the best version of myself, says Lily. Beautiful. Gabriella, having fulfillment, joy, and love with my life all the time. Betty, I will have reading centers with more teachers throughout the United States. That sounds incredible, Betty. I love that. Fulfilled and at peace. Okay, this is so good. All right. Okay, let's go back. I still have more for you, a lot more. I'm going to be getting to our gift in a minute. Now, let me show you the easiest and fastest way to get from where you are to where you want to go. I'm going to show you that now. But you have to be willing to get rid of resistance. And I know every one of you basically said yes to that. And so that you can easily. And I want to show you the easy way, the right way, the way that I know works. I mean, you've just seen example after example, clients that I've been blessed to serve as well. But you have to commit to this. It's very important that you do commit to making the change in your life. I know I wouldn't be sitting here if I had not committed to this. There's definitely some work involved, but it's fun. So if I had a solution that could help you break free and truly live that life, would you be interested in hearing more? Type yes in the chat box if you're interested in hearing more. Now, I'm not saying you have to do it. I want you to think about this, okay? I'm going to give you a little bit of instruction before I show you what I have to offer you. One is all you need to ask yourself is, do I want it? Okay, forget the money. If the answer is yes, you'll attract the money to do it, okay? Do you want it is all you need to ask yourself. Now, that solution can have you make massive change in a 30-day period. Now, I know that's going to excite you. So let's take a look at what it is. It's called Mind Conditioning Accelerator. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the invitation page that Roddy has set up for you so that you can go there and check this out yourself. Now, you can go to Mind Conditioning Accelerator. By the way, stick with us. Don't go anywhere. I'm still going to be addressing questions, and I'm going to go through the bonus gift that I've created for you as well. Just allow me a few minutes to show you this. Remember, ask yourself, do I want it? This is getting rid of your resistance. That's why you're here. It's a 30-day program. The investment I think you're going to find is really inexpensive and something that you could definitely do. So discover the secret to lasting success for a 30-day that you can do in a 30-day period. It's essentially trainings that I've created to show you how to build the belief system so that you are in harmony with your goals. Okay, so you're going to be following the guidance. So in 30 days, this is what it is. The investment is $9.97, or there is a payment plan that's there. Now we're increasing the price on Monday. We actually were going to increase at the beginning of July. We decided to leave it open for the $9.97 price still right now, or the 3 payment plan. But on Monday, the 15th, the price is going up. All right. So this isn't a superficial fix. It's a deep dive. This is the foundational learning of what's required. So there are 8 sessions. 8 sessions. I've outlined them here for you. You can see what we're doing. There's 30 days of videos. There are group calls spread out as well every couple of weeks. So you'll see what the actual program is here. You can get signed up right away. As soon as you sign up, you'll be taken immediately over to the assignment. And also, we've got the first 3 client success stories here are from people that were in the most recent. We just did this program. I just created it recently. In fact, I just delivered it in the month of June. And Dr. Mark Wallace, Candace, and Adi all went through that program. And you can look at their testimonials there. We asked them if they were willing to share. They said yes. And these are their testimonials. Now, there are a whole bunch of other testimonials on this page, people that I've worked with. There's Dr. Stacia Pierce, Dean Graziosi. He was a client of mine as well. Many other people that I've been blessed to serve. So you'll see, what's here. But essentially, the Mind Conditioning Accelerator program has been designed to help you reprogram your mind, to condition it for success. That is the idea behind it. So no matter where you are, where you're coming from, what you've been involved in, if you have a desire to change, this program can help you. And we intentionally kept it very, very low. Now, we do have other programs. I've mentioned that we do private mentoring. I've mentioned that I also have Epitome Author program. And that's why if you're confused or you're wondering which program is the best one for you, then book a call with Laddie. However, if you're somebody who's like me, a decision maker, and you're like, absolutely, I'm in, then all you need to do is go to the button down here and you can get registered. You just click on the button, fill in your information, and you will immediately be taken to, once you hit complete order, you'll be taken immediately to the dashboard and you'll be in the program and you'll be able to start today. You don't have to wait. You'll be able to start today. Okay. What we're doing is over a 30-day period is we're delivering you the classes. There's 8 of them over that 30-day period. With every day, you're getting a video lesson as well, a video from me that's been created to keep you in the energetic state of the new conditioning for your mind. So that if you follow through based on what's delivered in this program, you will have conditioned your mind by the end of that 30 days. It doesn't mean you're going to stop at the end of the 30 days, stop applying what you've learned, but it certainly means that you've laid the foundation and you've conditioned your mind for success. So that's mindconditioningaccelerator.com. I'm sure Roddy has already put the link in the chat box as well. Yes, I want it. Okay, great. I love it. Okay, you can get yourself registered right now. That's all you have to decide. Do I want it? Do I want it? And also, if you have questions, I like what Roddy just put there. You can type in your questions and we will get to the questions in a little bit. So let me go back. We still have some more, so stick with us. We still have some more. I'm going back to my slides. So make sure you check out Mind Conditioning Accelerator and get yourself registered today. Now, that we did a survey earlier where we asked you to measure your level of resistance. Now, if any of you were more than 11, which most of you were, that program is for you. That's the solution right there. But I really believe if your score was over 5, this is for you. My score was at a 5. Now, do I stop studying? Absolutely not. I'm still studying, still investing in myself, still buying programs. Absolutely. Why? Because results will continue to get better and better and better. So if you scored 5 or above, then get yourself into the mind conditioning program. Now, the truth is, it's difficult for an untrained mind. If you do nothing, it's very likely that you'll continue to experience similar results, if not worse, likely worse. Because if you're not improving, things are getting worse, right? Now, it is difficult for the untrained mind to assume desires as existing facts because they're denying it from their senses. Now, what I mean by this is, like, my mind has been trained. I've been training it for close to half a century. And when you saw those photos of me in the hospital, and then just a couple months later, me standing with my arms in the air, victory move, because it's all gone, bye-bye, out of my life, that's because I have a trained mind. That's because I knew how to apply what I had learned. Now, there are some people that have been through the training and understand this, they don't apply it, and then they struggle or continue to struggle. It's like somebody who got knocked off course or found that their results were struggling or not the way that they wanted, and they allowed that to become a process that sucked them into a new belief system, which was destructive. You have to be very, very careful. I loved what Tony Robbins used to say when he said, you have to stand guard at the door of your mind. You stand guard at the door of your mind and you don't let the crap in. You don't let the negative beliefs in. Most people are letting them in. They're allowing them in. Somebody says something to you, don't let it in. If somebody says something to you and you get upset, it's because you must have believed there was truth to it. Think about that statement for a moment. You must have believed there was some truth to it, but there isn't truth to it unless you believe there's truth to it. And something outside of you does not cause you to feel a certain way. If you're having a struggle in your life right now, you cannot blame something else. In fact, most people feel that something outside of them is also going to fix their life. And that is a dangerous place to be in. That's a dangerous belief to have. It's you. You are the solution. You're also the problem, but you're the solution. So if you want to know how to fix it, go look in the mirror. If you want to know where the problem is, go look in the mirror. But that's good news. It's good news because that's what you have control over. You have control over your mind. Don't allow someone else to come into your mind and be destructive. You wouldn't let someone come into your home, willingly open the door and let them steal things from you. Well, that's what negative thinking does. We want to get away from that. We want to stop that. We want to avoid that at all costs. And the way to do that is to replace it. Replace it with a new way of being. That's what you do. That's how you condition your mind. Through repetition is how you condition your mind. And that's what Mind Conditioning Accelerator is designed to do. Condition your mind so that you stay away from those destructive thoughts. You stay away from those feelings that don't feel good, and you stay connected only with what you desire. Okay, so what do I have for you? I have a gift for you, my friends. It's called the Instant Fix. And when I was preparing for today, I was thinking about not only giving you great value in this time that we are going to be here together, but give you something that you can take away in addition to what we covered off here. And so I created this for you. I wrote it. I had it designed for you. And then I thought, I'm going to record it for you as well. And so let me show you what I have for you in the quick fix. How many of you are excited about that? Let's go, and I'm going to show you where to get it. So Roddy is going to give you a link so that you can go to this page and you can download the guidebook. So it's going to be right here for you to download. You click on the link where it says download the Instant Fix Guidebook. Now, this link here, Watch the Magic of Allowing seminar, that's for later because we're doing that right now. And then here is the recording of the content from the guidebook. I recorded it last weekend because I decided on Friday I wanted to give you another gift. And that was a recording so that if you want to listen to the content, that you can listen to the content as well. All right, now let me show you what's inside because this is really, really exciting. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I love it. You're very welcome. Okay, let's go and look inside the book. Now, I suggest every one of you download this free, incredible, valuable gift. Oops, I almost ended the meeting, Roddy. That's not good. I was pushing on the wrong button. Okay, so when you open it, it's going to open like this. This is what it looks like. Very nicely designed. I love what my guy did with it. What is the instant fix? Very quick. You're going to understand there's 11 ways to switch away from negative over to positive. And they're all listed right here. Okay, so they're listed first, and then I get into detail of how to use them. What they are and how to use them. Every single one of them. At the end, at the summary, I basically say, you don't have to use all of them. Like some of you may look at this and go, oh my goodness, there's 11 of them. You may look at this. These are the 11 of the most powerful techniques that I have personally found. And I encourage you to share it with others, actually. Send this to other people. Connie, who's on the call, Connie McIntosh, was telling me that she's sharing it with her clients tonight. She's got a group of people that she works with. Do it. I'm happy if you share this with other people as well. But what I say in here is there's 11 processes that are in here that can fix your energy, put you into more positive, have you staying away from the negative. And I'm suggesting just start with one. Start with one. You don't have to do all of them. You may start with one and stick with one, but that's totally up to you what you decide to do and how you want to use it. But there it is. Now, how many of you are going to download that right away? How do we download the book? It does not say. Okay, so let me show you. Okay, good. Done already, Jeff? All right, way to go. Already done, says Vicky. Not surprised. Celia downloaded already. You're very welcome, Jackie G. Thank you for thanking me. I appreciate that. Heidi's already done it. Okay, great stuff. Done. Okay, a whole bunch of people have already done it. How do you download it? Let's go back over to the page. And now I'm using a Mac, so I click on it, and there it is. It opens right away, and then there's a download button, and I push download. That's it. Easy peasy. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. That's how you download it. All right, great stuff. Okay, guys, we are almost at an hour and a half here that we have been together. And that's my presentation for you. I want to encourage you to get into the Mind Conditioning Accelerator program. Thank you, Tanya. God bless you too. I want to encourage you, get in there today, like right away. This is new stuff. It's new. It's a program that I just created. I just created it last month. And I'm redoing all the classes and delivering it for this new format as well. All right, let's go to the questions. Thank you, Roddy. Roddy has grabbed a question here from George. And the question is, does letting it come to you go against taking actions towards your goal? Great question, Andrew George. I love it. How does allowing balance with the law of taking action? Goya, would the act of taking action stop you from having the feeling of already having your goal? Absolutely not. Okay, they work in harmony together. You see, this is what happens. And I'll give you an example. This is a really good example. All right. So earlier I was sharing with you the story of, it's getting hot in here. I'm just going to take my jacket off. The story of how I was walking down the street with my husband and I saw there was a house for sale, right? I noticed that there was a house for sale on the street and it was on a golf course. And I said to my husband, like I started to write down the name of the realtor so that I could go and visit the home. And okay, so if we think about allowing, right? Expecting, accepting. I said that earlier, expecting and accepting your good in your life. Now, here's what I could have done. I could have looked at that for sale sign and asked myself, do I want it? And if it was an affirmative, or let's say I called the realtor and looked inside and made a further decision, I'm seeing us living here. I'm seeing us, and it was a vacation home. It wasn't our primary home. I'm seeing us owning this home, enjoying this home, sharing it with our family and friends. And I imagined it. Like I could have just gone back to where we were staying in Florida and imagined that I was living in that home. Now that's using the law of attraction, right? But what did I do? I took action. I wrote down the name and the number of the realtor. I called the realtor. There's action right there. And then I asked him to see it, more action. I went to see it. And then I decided I'm buying it. Now, when I signed my name on that legally binding contract, I didn't know where the money was going to come from. But here's what I had a conditioned mind. I had a mind that knew that the faith, the belief was already there within me, that I would find a way to come up with the money. And I did. I bought it cash. I bought that house cash. I knew that I would do it. I believed enough in the laws because I've been teaching them for a long time, studying them for decades. And I believed enough in myself that working in harmony with the laws that I would manifest this. So that's where you're using both your imagination and you're taking action. I've done that numerous times. When I decided to incorporate a company, I went into action and secured a name, got an accountant, got a lawyer, did all the things that were necessary to incorporate a company. Actually, I didn't get a lawyer in the beginning. I spoke to a lawyer, but I didn't get a lawyer in the beginning. I have a lawyer now. And so I took action. So those are examples. It's not that you're going out and doing something foolish. It's you're taking action, demonstrating to the universe you're serious. You're very serious about your results. I think about Candace, who's on this call right now. And Candace has left a testimony for us on that page, Mind Conditioning Accelerator. She just went through that program. But Candace is also somebody who is enrolled in the Hollywood Manifest program. And this is our highest program that we have. And it is a program that we offer. It's $50,000 to attend. There's only 6 spots and 4 of them are already taken. And Candace is coming to that. Now, she is a great example of somebody who has made a decision. She's demonstrating to the universe she's serious. We have another gentleman who's on the call right now, Dr. Mark Wallace. I've referenced him. I mentioned him. He's on the Mind Conditioning Accelerator program. He's another gentleman who's demonstrated he's very serious about his results. He's invested in private mentoring. He came to the Hollywood Manifest program. He went through Mind Conditioning Accelerator as well. And he is very affirmatively said to the universe, I'm very serious about the success that I'm creating in my life. And he sent an email recently who said that he wakes up at a level 10, meaning 1 to 10. You know, are you in alignment or are you not in alignment? 10 means perfect alignment. And this is what he's focusing on. Now, that's not happening by accident. This is happening because he's not only conditioned his mind to be that way, he takes action to demonstrate to the universe he is moving in that way as well. So that was a great question. Thank you so much. Okay, Roddy has a couple more questions for me. Okay. How does taking action applying if attracting a life partner? Okay, great question, Laura. Understand this, okay, when I say these words. And she doesn't want to do dating apps either. I didn't either. And I didn't. Never been on a dating app. Okay, so here's the answer to that question. One is you don't have to know how, that's the truth, but how do you take action? You have to be open to it. You have to expect it. So what I did was I cleaned out my closet and made room for my significant other. I made room in my closet. And now that may seem silly if somebody looks in a closet of a woman who's, you know, a single woman and sees space there or empty drawers there. That demonstrates to the universe you're serious about this person being in your life. The other thing that I did was I used a very powerful mental faculty, visualization, imagination. I would imagine that I was walking down the street, going for walks in nature with the dog, holding my husband or partner's hand. I imagine I was holding his hand. I imagine that when I went out for dinner, he was opening the car door like a gentleman. I was getting in the car, he was closing the door. I was imagining that we were traveling together. I was imagining that we were having meals at the dining room table. I imagined, and that's what I did. I just believed that he was already in my life. 2 weeks later, I met him. when I was out walking my dog. Regina says, is that considered manifesting on a deadline? Love this question. I always wonder if we truly manifest within a certain time frame. We manifest within the universe's time frame. There is a law which dictates that there's a gestation period for all things to manifest into physical form. And so we have to honor that and respect that. Now, there's maybe times where you do have a deadline, a firm deadline. I'll give you a couple of great examples of that because I've been up against deadlines before. Real estate transactions, you have a closing date, right? But I want everyone that's here really listen to this, okay? Here's how you manifest. You manifest in the now, in this present moment. It's not by a certain time you're going to have something, or on this date, or I want something. That means it's not in your life now. You manifest in the now. So now means that right now, this very moment, you have to believe and know in your heart it's already done. I did that with my relationship. I did that with real estate. I did that with business. I did that with my health. And as I showed you the pictures, I mean, I was laying in a hospital bed, I had to believe now, in this moment, I'm already healthy. I had to see myself healthy. I had to see myself, back doing the work that I love doing. I had to believe it and see it now. In the now, you manifest right now. Now, you may have a time frame. I've done that with real estate, of course, and I've met all of them. And that's usually a guess, but you have to believe. Like I don't suggest people go out and purchase real estate. One of the first homes, it wasn't my first home, but one of the first homes that I bought after I got divorced, I didn't have any money to buy it. And I ended up taking a cash advance on my Visa to write the little check to give with the offer. And that is like crazy stuff, or what some people would likely call crazy. And I remember seeing a slide years ago that says, and it's in the books by the classic, the great classic master teachers as well, which is success sometimes defies logic. Was it logical to go out and purchase a home without any money? Was it logical to go out and purchase a home without having any idea how you're going to pay for it? Heck no. It's crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. And I'm quite certain if I had told people what I was doing, I would have had a lot of people tell me that you're nuts, you're crazy, you're reckless or whatever. But I didn't talk to other people about it. Why? Because I didn't want to hear their negative beliefs. And frankly, even if I did hear it, it doesn't have to influence you at all. You could be there, just imagining there's like a plexiglass shield and somebody's saying something negative to you, and you could just be going, reject, reject, reject. Now, you don't have to say that in a rude way. Like I know there's many times, like my husband, he's very analytical, left brain. I love him so much. He's a wonderful human being, an incredible guy. And he doesn't think the way I think. And so if he, starts to share something of a limiting belief, I'll just say something like, that's interesting. I'm not judging him, and I'm not making him wrong and making me right. I would just say, oh, that's interesting. Or I would say something like, oh, I find that fascinating that you would think that way. And then I may offer my belief or my opinion. And he knows we're very different, but yet we honor and respect each other for the way that we are. I didn't try and change him. He certainly wasn't going to try and change me. And frankly, even if he did, it wouldn't have worked. And likely the other way around as well. And so it's important that you understand that nobody else outside of you has to influence you in any way whatsoever. And if you are influenced by somebody else, it's because you're allowing it. Okay, you're allowing it. Christina says, what can you do when doubts and old patterns arise? And how can you change them, dear Peggy? Wonderful question, Christina. Love this question as well. Really great questions today, aren't they? I love them. Yes. Okay, so what can you do when doubts or old paradigms arise, and how can you change them? I think about, there's a game at the county fair. It's called whack-a-mole, right? And you get this big mallet in your hand, and this game starts, and it's on a timer, and these little moles pop up at these little holes, and they're in different places. They're spontaneous, and they apply, and you got to whack them as they come up, right? Whack-a-mole. Some of you are probably familiar with that game, right? I think about Christina's question and how doubts and old patterns arise, because they will. They arise within me too. Why? Because they're there, right? Everything that you have taken in your subconscious mind is a part of who you are. You don't get rid of it. It's not like, something where you have surgery and they go in and they take it out. Like if you have a belief from your childhood, like I did, which I shared with you today, I had a belief that I wasn't worthy of love. That's still a part of who I am. Now, what have I done? Okay, this is the answer. You replace it. Well, you don't necessarily replace it, but what you do is you make the new voice louder than the old voice. How do you do that? Through repetition, by impressing the new idea. And so that's how you switch away from the negative idea over to the positive idea. You notice when it's there. I like to call this a 3-step switching technique. You notice when it's there, you make a decision you're going to change it, and you change it, right? The instant fix is going to help you with that. That's why I created the instant fix. The instant fix is a solution for that. Because if you think of what is the instant fix, it's a way to get out of those old negative, disempowering emotions or thoughts like doubt or fear or worry or guilt or unworthiness, and put you into a better vibration. Snap out of it, snap out of it, snap out of it. That's what the instant fix is. So you switch over to a new idea, and you'll see there's many of them in there. My favorite and the most powerful technique is the Power Life script. That's why in our survey, we ask people, like, do you have a Power Life script? Do you use a Power Life script? And a bunch of people said, I don't even know what that is. Go to powerlifescript.com and you'll see what it is. And if you have an iPhone, download the Power Life Script app. It looks like this. Let me show you what it looks like, because I listen to it every day. Let's see. Now I'm going to show you my little screen. It's right there with this little flowery thing on it, Power Life Script. And it's free. It's free. So you can go to the apps. We're having the Android version made. So that'll make Michelle happy, who's on the call. And because I know she's an Android user. Many of you are probably Android users as well. But the iPhone version is available right now for free. And if you haven't got that, go get it. Oh, your Android, Laura Lee? It's coming. It's coming. Our developer said it's coming a little bit faster than what he thought. So that's what I would do. Like I listen to my Power Life script every day, every single day. To me, it's like the water I drink, the food I eat. It, keeps my dreams alive. Okay, so Munsa is asking the question. How many times a day do you practice visualization? I'm doing it all day long, all day long. I have reminders around me all the time. You don't necessarily see them. I don't know if you noticed in one of those photos, I had given Bob Proctor a bouquet of flowers. I had a bouquet made for myself as well. And it's a reminder of abundance. But I also have other tools around me, other images around me that reflect the desires that the Power Life script is free on the app that are there. And I'm sorry, I saw Candace's question and it took me off base. I love her question, so I want to address that one as well. Nori's saying, when will the app be available? And I don't know yet. That's a good question. Don't know. Another question is about the money bouquet. How to make it. I didn't make it. I actually hired someone to make it for me. A friend made it. There's $1,600 in there. And they're real bills. There's $1,600 in real bills. It is a gorgeous expression of abundance. I agree, Jackie G. Okay, let's get back to the questions. Thank you so much, guys. I love all these questions, by the way. Okay, so how many times a day? I'm doing it all day. I start my day with visualization. But I'm doing it all day long. All right, Patrick. I have business opportunities showing up in my life, but then some obstacles get in the way. Should I be persistent or forget about it because it's not meant to be? There's a good question. I think you and only you can decide. You have to really determine how you feel. But here's what I would ask myself. If an obstacle came up, which they will, they often do, it's like paradigms, right? Like there are belief statements that are beliefs, they just come up, right? They try and hold you back. And I know, Patrick, you know that very well because you're a very serious student and you're somebody who's used the Power Life script as well. You've manifested many things in your life. So I would say this, if an obstacle comes up, You have to really pay attention to your own feelings and ask yourself, does this feel like resistance to me? How am I feeling in this moment? And if it's worry or doubt or something else, then ask yourself, do I want it? If you want it, you'll find a way. You will absolutely find a way. Now, sometimes things happen that may appear that they weren't meant to be. That happens. I'll give you an example of that. And I think Patrick's question sort of has reminded me of this great example. And a number of years ago, I had hired a builder to build a custom designed home. And I was single at the time and single mom. I had my son, Michelle. It was just him and I had bought this home from the builder. It was being custom made. It was taking about, I don't know, 9 months, I think, to build. And it was beautiful. It was a triple car garage, gorgeous home. And I was choosing the marble for the fireplace and the granite for the countertops and the hardwood for the floors. I got to choose all the colors and really make it my own. And I was in love with the home as it was being built and watching it progress. And I had purchased it with the condition that I sold the other home that I was in. And I went to the builder, who was also a realtor, and I said to her, I said, I'm going to remove the condition on the contract and firm up the deal, and I'll move in April as planned. And she said to me, well, I've decided I'm not selling you the home. And I said, I don't understand. Like, we have a legally binding contract. And she said, too bad, sue me. And I remember being just flabbergasted, like, too bad, sue me? Like, seriously? And I was just shocked. That's illegal what she was doing. It was illegal. And so, in one way, yeah, how rude, Kadi, you're absolutely right. In one way, I felt like resistance, right? Like hopeless. Like, what can I do? And she's basically saying, too bad, you don't get the house. And so I went home and I cried. I mean, I was sad. I really was sad. Like, this is my home, right? I was in love with this home. And then I thought, okay, just like Patrick's question, maybe something better. And then I just let go of the resistance. And I just said, this or something better. And then I started looking at other real estate and I found a spectacular home. It was a lot more, but I went and bought it. I went and bought this other home, which was gorgeous, so gorgeous. And here's what happened with that home that builder had built. She had noticed that by the time I had signed the contract to purchase it, the real estate market was creeping up. And so in her mind, she's thinking, I can get more money. And so she increased the price by $100,000. And you know what happened? That house sat on the market for over a year at 100,000 more, while she had to decrease her price and decrease her price and decrease her price. And she sold it for less than what I bought it for. They call that karma. I saw a show last night that said, you spell karma this way. Ha, there you go, right? There you go. So the law of cause and effect, says Darcy. Yes, karma, says Heidi. Heidi's a realtor. She knows, right? And so Patrick, was I meant to have that home? I guess not. So sometimes things don't work out in our favor or the way that we thought. So this is when you have to be flexible as well. So yeah, is skepticism a part of resistance? Yes, definitely a part of resistance. Okay, we got 12 minutes and a bunch more questions have come in. Candace says, is owning or denying your achievements a sign of resistance? Oh, I love that. Or the reminder that I'm not standing in my power. It may be. The fact that you noticed it may be. And Candace, I can relate to that one. I was really good at minimizing achievements, like minimizing my achievements. What's a big deal? Next, next, next. And not that you have to stand there and own your own power. However, I believe that's directly linked to confidence. That's what, our self-esteem. That's what that one is linked to. And I knew it at the time as well. I had the same thing, minimizing accomplishments. So it's definitely a sign of resistance. But the good news is you noticed it. And the solution is that you love yourself more and appreciate yourself more. You build your confidence as well. Okay, so there we go. So I noticed Belky wrote, so I think if I take Peggy's course, my life still won't work. Maybe. You may think that. And the fact is, it may not. But I'll tell you something, I'm giving you what you need in order to condition your mind. And you'll see in there, we're giving you assignments. And they're assignments that you send to us. We get them. Me, Roddy, Vladdy, Kayla, we get your assignments. So we're there to give you feedback. We're going to encourage you to stick with it throughout the 30-day period. Yes, thank you. Okay, Tanya, what reminders would you advise to use for having sold 1.5 million books plus 10 million in revenue and many children and families helped? Oh, I love that, Tanya. I love that. I love that you are here to make a difference. I love that. I'm so blessed to work with you. And Tanya's a graduate from my program. So what reminder? I would write out a statement. I'm so happy and grateful now that I've sold over 1.5 million books and generated $10 million plus in profitable revenue that has significantly made a positive difference in the lives of children and family around the world. There you go. Just gave you a statement. Write it out, put it somewhere where you'll see it every single day and really stick with it. Okay. Luckiest and blessed counselor Rinky 1821 is asking, we have almost about to get married. My special person I manifest, but barrier came due to lack of sufficient money. So how do you remove this and successfully get married this year? See yourself having the wedding of your dreams. Kayla did that. Kayla saw herself having a spectacular wedding, and that's exactly what she did. You know, Kayla is my daughter-in-law, and I mentioned her. I even showed a picture of her on this call as well. And I'm going to see if she's open. I'm going to wait a minute. Let me find her. Oh, she's not here. Did she drop off? Hijk. Oh, no, she's there. Okay, Kayla, do you want to come in? There she is. Kayla, I thought I had made you co-host, so my apologies for doing that. Kayla, this individual would love to have a wedding and marry their significant other and have a wedding of their dreams. What did you do? You don't have to say how it happened. Just what did you do to manifest that in your life? Because your wedding was my favorite wedding ever, other than mine, of course.
It's funny because I had a lot of people say that to me. Some of my best friends were like, your wedding was like, I had one person say, I think every single person at your wedding was crying at one point. You're such joy.
I
And
certainly was.
just looking around the room, you really feel and visualize it. So I wrote every single day exactly how my wedding was going to be, the people I had in it, the environment, the feelings I had walking down the aisle, the people who I saw at my wedding, the feeling I felt when I walked down, to greet my husband. And I held on to that feeling, and I faced obstacles like many. I was supposed to be married in, what was it, Peggy?
Right.
2019.
No, 2020. Wasn't it 2020? It was 2020.
It was 2020.
Yeah, it was
Yes, you're right. I
2020.
got engaged in 2019. And COVID hit and I had to cancel my wedding. And it was not even 2 weeks prior to my wedding. And I had to send out a message to everybody saying, I'm terribly sorry, but we have to cancel the wedding. But please, please wait. We promise there will be a wedding. And I had to cancel my wedding twice. And it wasn't because they weren't giving me the option of having the wedding. It was because I held on to the dream of what I wanted my wedding to be. So when they said to me, you have to make these changes, you have to cut these people, you can't have these types of things. And I said, nope, not getting married, not doing it. No, I'm holding on to exactly what my vision is for my wedding, and that's what it's going to be. And I feel like that's what you need to do. You need to set the intention that this is exactly the way you want it to be. Visualize it, use it in your Power Life script. I created a Power Life script for my wedding, exactly how I wanted it to be. Everything was paid for in full. It was beautiful. Everybody was like happy. And there was, that's what it ended up being. So
Yeah,
that's
it's so good.
question.
I think Kayla's story is a great example of being flexible as well. Like what she did was she saw it. She saw this beautiful wedding already done. She was living in the experience in her imagination. And then COVID hit. I remember we had her bridal shower in March of 2020 at our home. Actually, the photo that I showed you guys in the presentation today, we had the bridal shower there. and their wedding was scheduled for April the 25th, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And it was just weeks away, weeks away. And I know how disappointing that is to have to cancel it. And COVID went on and on and on. I mean, not for a few months, it was like years. And she moved it to the 2022 and got married 2 years ago now, and just, really created magic. But Kayla's my daughter-in-law and my team member, but Kayla makes this happen. It's like that expression I said in the beginning of this call. If it is to be, it is up to me. It's like Roddy and Vladdy. I'm going to bring them all into the spotlight right now. I didn't tell them I was going to do this, but I'm going to do that because they're all examples of this. They're all examples of expressions, and they make it happen. If it is to be, it is up to me. I think of Roddy, you're living in a beautiful home in the country that you envisioned, you and Hannah, and you manifested that. Now, how did you do that?
Yeah, it's just constant spaced repetition, really, of the materials and getting on with the work. And it is effort, but it's fun. Trust me, it is really, really fun, and you can make it fun. That's what I love about it. Every single person can make it fun, which is what I enjoyed, particularly with the house. And I know you love it too, Peggy. You can go online, you can search, you can go into houses, you can look at houses, even if in that present moment you don't have the money. Like, you can have that sort of fabulous game of pretend. You can just
Right.
pretend that you're already there and already living it. And God, I would have pictures of the house that I wanted. I'd have it like all around my walls. Um, I would be looking constantly on real estate, mailing, emailing real estate, getting bookings, just setting the process off. But it's a fun thing to do. It really is, and it comes up. And how you attract it, like you said, it can come up, and as it did for me, like the most unusual places, the money. And it always does. It always works. It's just
Yeah.
we don't know when it's going to come, and we don't know where it's going to come from. But that's the beauty of it. That's what I love about this manifestation game. More often or not, it comes from the sort of least predictable and least expected places, which is the beauty of it. But you've just got to be open for it, and it will work. See, that was probably a good 5, 6 years of constant spaced repetition for me, and I wanted it to be the perfect home. I didn't just want a home. I didn't just want to move into any old home. Like, again, I was very much open to it's got to be, and I had it in my head what I wanted, and it's pretty much exactly how I wanted it, which for me is beautiful. I love it.
I love that too, Roddy. It's so great. It's such an inspiration. Like, I didn't go over there and make that happen for Roddy. Roddy made that happen. Kayla made that happen. Vladdy, another great example. Like, I was so blessed. And when I look around the room at the team and I see the comments on the right hand side, I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed to be surrounded by these incredible people. And like, Vladdy was a total attraction into my life. Now, she probably thought that she was attracting me, but I attracted her. And then we're blessed to work together. And Vladdy, continues to manifest. Like, if anyone follows Vladdy and you see this girl's living the dream life, I'm telling you, she's traveling the world. But like me and like Kayla and like Roddy, her priorities are in the right place. Her family, I don't need to ask Vladdy if her family is her priority. I know it's her priority. She's got two beautiful children. She's got a wonderful husband. And Vladdy, you've used this in every way in your life as well to creating extraordinary results. So tell us a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
I love these materials because of whenever something happens, when we get out of a truck, that's where you feel how much actually it means to do that. It's
Right.
easy to be living a great life and following these materials. And sometimes you may even feel like, oh, it's fun. I mean, for me, I'm like, Peggy, I'm obsessed with this. So I am saturating. Kids actually sometimes says, can you please switch it off? You've heard this millions of times. And I know they're right, but it just suggests that, but when something happens, then you know that it works because you get back on track really fast. You don't get out of alignment. If you do, it's very for a short period of time. And I love these materials because it really impacts your life in a great way. And I've put something which is actually from the book in the chat, which is from the book of, Peggy actually teaches working with the laws. And actually that's part of whatever she teaches in there as well. And that's the law of non-resistance. Be a water. It's like you have to do this every day because it's like you're eating every day. And if you have an excuse, okay, I just decided I'm not going to eat for a week and I'm going to take a time off. It doesn't work like that. If you actually live the way that this becomes part of your living, you don't have to set an hour in the morning to wake up and do the things. You just embed it into your life in such a way that it becomes part of you. You're doing it when you're eating, you're doing it when you're cooking, you're doing it all the time when you're walking. And that's how you start. You start with my conditioning. This is why I said to every one of, I know many of you promised me on the call you will join today on the webinar, so I'm holding you to that. But it really is, it's 30 days. I mean, what is it costing you not to do that? And somebody asked me, why are you doing it when you're with Peggy and doing the things? And I'd like to address that. Because if you think that you reach the point that you can't go any higher and you can't get any better, then you're in a very dangerous place. Because there is never a place where we can just say, okay, I've got it all and I'm fine. Because I also have a bigger dreams. And when I set my goals with Peggy 4 years ago or 3.5 years ago, I thought if I had what I have today, I really don't need anything else. And let me tell you, it's a lie I was telling to myself, because when you realize how much you can do and how much you can help others and how your life changes, you definitely will want more. And there's nothing wrong with it. Expansion means that you should want more, but you deserve that. So go for that month where you can just completely recondition anything and make a decision that you're going to create a new mind, because whatever it was, and that's something for me as well. I am used to studying, but I also use the old habits, and Peggy is a master of be a dog with the bone. And I sometimes question myself, we can hold the wrong bone. Like you can be a dog and hold a wrong bone, and you should drop it and create a new habits because your goals change. And if you don't change the new conditioning to achieve the new, raise your standards, operate on a much higher standards and transform. Don't just gather this information to have a fulfill shelves, which is not doing anything in your life. Transform. You can only transform when you're applying this. And it is true. And it's not always easy. It gets easy. I mean, to me, it's a fun. I'm like, okay, new thing, but experience something. Say to yourself, I'm going to do it a different way. Because I'm used to doing things. I've conditioned myself in a good way. Now I'm being more playful, going, okay, I'm going to do it as a new person. So raise your standards and just step up. It's your life. We're actually doing it for yourself.
That's so good, Vladdy. I love that. I love how you address what does it cost you not to do this, right? Like sometimes people look at it. We were chatting about this the other day, if people are spending money, and I was doing a little calculation on how much I spend on my outside of my head. I remember hearing this years ago, people spend more on the outside of their head than they do on the inside of their head, right? Probably more women than men. I don't know what Roddy spends a year on the outside of his head, but oh, you have a nice head of hair there, Roddy. But even Starbucks, like I'm not really a Starbucks girl. I'm more of a Tim Hortons kind of girl. But I'm, quite often surprised when you go in Starbucks and seeing the lineups and like it's just like a license to print money in those places. And you order a coffee, and it might be a mocha latte, whatever the heck they're all called, and it's like $6.30. I'm thinking people are doing this every day, and just start calculating, how did that help you with your life, right? Like, is that something that really contributed to your life? The thing is that people are spending the money anyway. It's like Bob used to say that you're going to spend the money anyway. And we made this so affordable. There's no reason not to get in, and even put up a payment plan. And, we had that discussion, Roddy was saying, oh, we put up a payment plan. It's going to be 30 days, they'll be paying for it even beyond. Well, they'll be benefiting from it beyond, because that's why it was created. This program was created is to condition your mind for success. So I know we've gone a little bit over, and we love to over deliver. That's something that we tend to do. And I think that comes from being in the spirit of service as well. And Patricia says, does this include the Power Life script? Do you want it to include the Power Life script? I'm sure Vladdy will throw it in. She's a deal maker. We could do that if you want, Patricia. Not a problem. There we go. Yeah.
It's worth also saying too, Peggy, and particularly for you, Patricia, Peggy will review your Power Life script too as part of the program. We did that for the last batch, so I'm pretty certain she'll be more than happy if you go through the program, do the 30 days, submit it to her. She'll happily review it and get her red pen out if there's any words that don't
I got a
don't
green pen now.
align with what you want.
Yeah, I use green pen. You know, you mentioned red pen. You know, that's what we've been conditioned, right? To think red pen means error, etc. But no, that's not the case at all. Roddy, I think we have a couple more questions that I am happy to stay on if you're okay with it to
Yeah,
address. We'll
perfect.
just do the two that have already been submitted, okay? So the questions from Susan: do feelings come first or thoughts? My father often said, just change your thoughts and disregard feelings, but I think feelings have wisdom and to accept them rather than resist them. Definitely. What do you think about the inner child work and being nurturing parent to self to transform feelings and hear what they are needing instead of resisting them? What do you think about inner child work? Yeah, definitely work on your, I've had to work, I still work on my inner child to this day, but thoughts and feelings are connected. They're definitely feelings. Sometimes it's a feeling first, then it's a thought. Sometimes it's a thought, then it's a feeling, but they're definitely, what you need is alignment of the thought and the feeling, which means alignment with what you desire. That's ultimately how you manifest your results. Okay, Joyce says, how do you make a Power Life script to sell a large, beautiful home fast? See it sold. You know, visualize that it's already sold. Like, just imagine that it's already sold. Talk about how easy it was. The move out of there was easy. That whatever event, this is what you do. You first of all declare it as already done. All right. So, and what would be the feelings? It could be, I'm so elated that this home is sold. But don't just make it about you. You could also say, and the purchasers are happy as well. So it's good for all. It's a scenario that really is good for all. And then what you have to do is determine what would be a scene that would happen were you to have that occur in your life. Well, the scene might be watching the moving truck, you know, leaving the driveway. The scene might be you're at the notary or lawyer's office and you're receiving the funds, or like just see the scene that's vivid to your senses, whether it's something that you're seeing or something that you're hearing or something that you're touching, and have that be something and visualize that. You could even use what I do with the Power Life Script app is I record a short visualization for a specific goal and put it on repeat. I listen to my Power Life Script and I listen to my visualization on repeat. And it's a scene, like one specific scene that you would see. That will give it energy, that will give it focus, and that will manifest it into form. All right, everyone. Will I ever put on a live event? Maybe. I don't know. Don't know. No decisions right now. Wait a minute. That's not true. We have a live event in Hollywood in October. Hollywood Manifest. So we're doing a live event, 6 people only. And that's in Los Angeles in October. That's called Hollywood Manifest. And Vladdy can tell you all about that if you want. She's happy to meet with you. So the links are here. The replay will be up. The guidebook is there that I created for you. The instant fix. Make sure you use it, but more importantly, get enrolled in Mind Conditioning Accelerator. Get in there right now. You'll be able to benefit from it immediately. You can start your 30 days today. Your dreams don't want to wait. Your dreams won't wait. And so on behalf of myself and my team, I want to thank you for giving us your attention today. We really appreciate you. And Araya is saying, where's the guidebook? It is on a link. So Roddy, could you just explain quickly how they can get the guidebook, please? Oh, wait, we can't hear you. You're muted.
Sorry. Yes, I will post it in the chat box just now. And if you want, Peggy, I know we said we were only going to give it to the folks that turned up live, but I can certainly pop it on the replay page as well too if we want to share
Sure.
the joy or however we wish to
I
do it.
think
We shall
so.
see.
I think
But
we should, because there's folks that are here that will likely want to go back and perhaps watch, might want to take some notes. They may have heard something and they want to go again. So sure, let's put it on the replay page. I think that would just
perfect.
be easier for them. And we're very grateful for you guys. We love you guys. We love serving. We're very appreciative and want to thank you for giving us your attention. We look forward to serving you even further. Vladdy's open for calls. Don't let your resistance get in the way. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you book the call, please show up. She blocks off time in her agenda to serve you guys. And she is a wonderful human being, but she's also a mom. She's a wife. And when she blocks off that time, it means she's taking time away from her family. That's a big priority in her life. And I'm just saying that because I know for Vladdy, she's had experiences where she's dedicated the time and then she's had people book with her and then not show up. I mean, if you can't make the call, she's very flexible. She'll reschedule. That's not a problem whatsoever. So we're here for you. If you have any questions, the team is here for you. We're always here to serve. So I want to thank you so much, everyone. All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you again real soon.